Are you unintentionally creating a negative classroom environment by calling students out? Well, I have two strategies that can help you turn that around. Let's get to it. Every day you have countless interactions with students. Some of those are positive, you have a good rapport with students, and some of them might not be so positive. But every interaction, no matter how small, can influence the dynamics of the classroom. For example, for many years, I didn't realize my facial expressions. So we'd be having discussions within the classroom and I would be looking thoughtful. I would be thinking about the student's response, trying to take it really seriously and pull out the positive elements so I could feed that back. But what I didn't realize was that my serious expression wasn't always interpreted as thoughtful and respectful. It was seen as being critical and being judgmental. So I had to really adjust the way that I held my face so that I was giving a positive reinforcement to the students' comments. So the two strategies we're going to be talking about today are how to call students up and how to call students in. Both of these are really powerful tools to create a positive classroom environment. Calling a student up is extremely powerful because it calls them into something that they are not yet. It's something that they are aspiring to become, a positive evolution in who they are wanting to become, and it's personal for every student. For example, if a student didn't do well on a particular exam, you might call them aside afterward and say, hey, listen, I've noticed that you did really well on classroom discussions. You seem to understand the material because you did well on the quizzes. It seems like you're doing well, except for this exam. And I know that you can do better than this, especially since you're aspiring to become a surgeon. So how can I help you to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to reach your potential? So notice that I'm calling up the potential of the student. I'm calling them into what they want to become. I'm not harassing them necessarily about the test score that they got, because that's going to be something that is they're going to feel bad about. So I want to encourage them into an emotion, a state of mind that is actually helpful for them to improve and to do better on the next assignments and engage more even in the class. So another tip or another strategy is to call students in, and it's a bit different than calling students up. When you call students up, it's individual to the student, and their personal aspirations may be different from another student's, but calling a student in calls them into a group, calls them into the values, into the behaviors that are expected from being part of the school, being part of a club, being part of the class. So as long as those are articulated, the student can be called into being part of that group. An example of calling a student in would be something like this. Hey, at Acme High School, one of our values, one of the things that we hold highly is the value of excellence. And in so many ways, you have demonstrated that you provide excellence in everything that you do. So what can we do next time to make sure that you show your excellence on the next exam? So notice that with both calling up and calling in, it's not labeling students in the moment. It's seeing potential. It's recognizing the students are growing, they're changing, they're evolving and developing, and not locking them into a particular pattern that they have shown in the moment. It's calling them into who they are becoming, into their best selves. And that can be really powerful. And if you've had somebody who's done that for you, you know what an impact that can have. Calling students out is very different than calling students up and in that it labels students, it calls them out in the moment for their negative behavior. This can create a sense of shame. It can create a divide between the teacher and the student, and depending on the dynamics of the classroom, might also erode some of the students' interactions. So if you want to maintain a positive environment, make sure that you're calling students up and in as opposed to out. For example, if Sally's acting out in class and you say, hey, Sally, stop that, you're being a troublemaker, That might change things for the moment, but you've also isolated out the student. You've perhaps created a barrier between the two of you that will need to be repaired. Other students have also witnessed this, and while it might deter their negative behavior, it also might make them a little bit less willing to participate in class discussions, assignments, because they might be concerned that they too would be called out instead of up or in. Now, the examples that I've given you are verbal. However, there are little things that you can do in the classroom with your classroom decorations, with your body language, with the tone of voice, a lot of things that can portray if you are actually consistently in the mindset of calling students up and in. And if you're in that mindset, it can radically change the entire environment of the classroom. So this week, take a look. What are your interactions like? Are you calling students up and in through all the little things that you do? Even as you see students in the hallway or interact with them socially, what are the decorations in your classroom like? What are your assessments like? Are you continuously calling students up into their potential?